Hello, my name is Derek, and I don't really know why I'm making this video. Judging from the title, you probably get, I'm just kind of working through some stuff right now. Last night I just flew back home. I just got back home. I had to fly to Louisiana to go to the funeral of my first cousin, who I love dearly, and had to go lay him to rest. He had his funeral services Sunday, and I was a pallbearer in the services, and just kind of dealing with a lot of confusion and pain, and don't really, I don't know, trying to work through it. I'm not great at talking to people about things like this, and I thought the video could help. It wasn't just my cousin. So my cousin, man, it's been the craziest week ever. So last week I got the phone call at my cousin Brandon, who he got into a motorcycle accident, and they rushed him to the hospital. And then that night I found out they had to air med him from that hospital to another hospital. And pretty much the next day found out that, there was no brain activity, and they ended up having to pull the plug. That was Monday of last week. And I swear to God, man, on that same day, just get off the phone with my mother. We're FaceTiming and kind of talking about everything and going over it. And I hang up the phone with my mother, and I get a call from my friend in recovery. And we, a lot of mutual friends. And God, man, found out my sponsor, who's been sponsoring me for the last 6 months since I moved to a new part of the state, on vacation in Hawaii. He's a little bit older, he's 67, but he was on vacation in Hawaii, which he went to multiple times a year. He loved Hawaii, and he would go there a couple times a year and spend like a month at a time. But he had a heart attack on the beach, and he passed away as well. So just kind of like a double whammy of pain and grief. You'll see from the title of the video, I am in recovery. I've been back in recovery, clean and sober, for a little bit over 3 years now. I guess one blessing that's come out of this, or one positive I can take from it, through all of this, the thought of taking a drink or a drug, it hasn't even been a thought in my mind. Hasn't crossed my mind one bit. And that's, God working in my life. The title of the video is how to deal with this. And I guess, honestly, I'm making this video to almost like a therapy session. And I do talk to people, I talk to my wife. But I've been distant this week. I've noticed that, and she's noticed more than I have. That I've been a little bit shut down and distant, and it's weird. Like, I almost have a hard time, compartmentalizing when things happen like this. Also, Christmas of 2024, just a few months ago, I got a phone call from my mom in Louisiana on Christmas Day. They found my aunt. She committed suicide on Christmas Eve, and her kids found her on Christmas Day. And that hurt, but honestly, I still feel like I haven't dealt with that, because I didn't have a chance to fly home and go to the services and stuff. And it's sad to say that I have mixed feelings on when that happens. Suicide is a touchy subject, and being in recovery, and I worked in treatment for years in South Florida, so I have lost friends and people that I knew from suicide, and that's a painful one to deal with for the family. And I couldn't even imagine my cousins and their kids and stuff like that, what they dealt with, finding that out on Christmas Day. But yeah, it's almost like I put this stuff in the back of my mind, and it's not that I'm trying not to deal with it, and trying to just shove it down. I'm really not. I've learned in sobriety to, deal with my emotions and stuff like that. But I guess, after years, I've read, so many books on stoicism and stuff like that. And, I think there are good attributes of stoicism. And I'm almost like stoic to a default. And, I don't always want to be able to like just easily deal with things that other people are traumatized by, and, deal with a lot of pain. I want to grieve properly and remember the loss of the people I love. But I don't know, it's weird. It's almost like sometimes I feel like it doesn't faze me, which is strange. And it's like, I'm not even trying to feel like that. But I have noticed I've lost other people in the past, and, sometimes it doesn't faze me in the moment, and then months later, you hear a song or, have a thought, a memory or something like that, and that's when the waterworks happen, and, kind of deal with the emotions then. Now I will say, for my cousin Brandon, we grew up like brothers. We're a year apart, and God, man, he had 3 kids, 21, 18, and 16. He had kids when he was very young. But we kind of grew apart over the years, and one of the reasons we were like running mates in our teenage years and early 20s. We were both, pretty bad with drugs and alcohol and everything else like that. And, I had the blessing whenever I was 23, and I went to South Florida to get help for my addiction. And, I got sober when I was around 24, and I was sober for almost 7 years. I've talked about that in previous videos. I was sober for around 7 years, and, I had a relapse for a couple years, and it took me a little bit to get back into the rooms and get sober again. But, when I got sober and clean at 24, he kept doing his thing, and it's sad, he spent years in and out of prison, in different work release programs and stuff like that. And, he didn't have much of a life through his 20s and most of his 30s because of his addiction. And he didn't have much of a relationship with his kids, on and off throughout these years he has. And then he would, get in trouble or get hemmed up. And, but man, the thing that really broke my heart is he did, over the last few years, he, got out of prison, and he's been doing really good. And I got to see him over the summertime, and, he was healthy, he looked good, he wasn't on drugs, he had a great job, he was working, and his kids were there, and, he was finally, showing up and being the dad, that God wanted him to be, that he was meant to be, and he was doing such a good job at it. And, the day that he got into the motorcycle accident and passed away, he was actually having like a family event, had his kids over and stuff like that, and, boiling crawfish, and, they were having like a celebration, and, one slight, fatal mistake, jumped on the dirt bike and, whipping around the roads, and, one little false move, and that was the end. And, I think we have to take moments like this in life as a learning experience, grieve and mourn the loss of the people we love, but just remember that, life, life ends for all of us. I love the Stoic saying, memento mori, remember death comes, because it's very true. Nobody's promised tomorrow, and all we have is the present. And that's something I'm trying to take away from, this tragedy. The 2 people that I lost that were both very important to me. It's just like, what am I doing in my life right now? And what more can I be doing? Am I being the best dad possible? Am I doing things that I enjoy doing? Am I being loving and caring to my wife? Am I showing up and being a part of my community and being good to people I come in contact with, you know, in the rooms of recovery? Am I helping people? Am I trying to do things for others? So it's just something I've taken out of the tragedy that I'm going to try to implement more into my life. But yeah, like I said, you know, the biggest blessing that I've gotten out of it is the thought of a drink or a drug is far out of my mind. You know, in the book of Alcoholics Anonymous, it says, you know, we've recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. We've recovered, and you know, thank God, I have recovered from, you know, the despair that I used to if something like this would happen, it would just be an excuse to go into the bottle or, you know, my drug of choice and just try to wipe it out of my mind and end up getting in trouble and take the chance of, you know, myself getting killed or, you know, something tragic happening to me. But instead of that, I was able to fly home to Louisiana, be there for my uncle, be there for his grandparents, you know, my aunt and uncle, you know, be there with them. My mom, my sister and brother, you know, we were like siblings, you know, growing up. So everybody's just, you know, so hurt over this. But I was able to be there for my family and be a pillar, you know, for my family, someone to lean up on and stand against. And, you know, I attribute that to, you know, my recovery, my relationship with God, my continued, you know, growth of spirituality and not spirituality, you know, something that's helped me out through this tremendously is over the last several months, you know, I've really dove into reading the Bible and, you know, getting a personal relationship with God, the God, the one and only God. And that's something I strayed away from for many years. You know, being in recovery, I'd always had the God of my own understanding. I consider myself spiritual, not religious, and still religion. I'm not, you know, big into religion, but, you know, reading the Bible and, you know, praying to Jesus, to my God, has been something that's helped me through this. And, you know, waking up every morning and reading something, you know, powerful, like something out of Psalms, and, you know, meditating for a little bit in prayer. Same thing at nighttime, you know, giving thanks for the day and, you know, reading something out of the New Testament, I'm reading through the New Testament right now, and just being grateful and thankful for what I have, and, you know, trying to be, you know, a good servant to my family, my friends, people in my community, to God. Yeah, I mean, I guess, honestly, I mean, I made this video, I guess, like a therapy session to myself, and, you know, hoping that maybe somebody could see this that's struggling with something, you know, especially people in recovery. I think my mission in life is to try to help other people sick and suffering from the disease of alcoholism and addiction. I think that's, you know, my main calling in life. So if it could help anybody, you know, watching this video stumble across it, then it's worth it. And it's helping me talking about it. And today, honestly, after getting back from Louisiana to the services, I had to go by myself because I had to go quick, but I came back today and, you know, actually talking to my wife about it and, you know, being open and talking about my feelings and how it's affecting me. So, you know, just trying to heal from it. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hope this would help somebody. It definitely helped me. Thank you.